So I think, the broad issue here, as we've been discussing, is truth and honesty. And, it's interesting, Ruth, your perception of truth when it comes to things like welfare and food stamps is very different than Hannah's. Maybe I could ask you both, what is truth for you? How do you in your own life perceive of truth, and in terms of what's going on in this country now and what you think politicians should be standing for? I mean, what is truth?
That's a really heavy question.
It is.
I was not a philosophy major.
Yeah.
But I'll take a crack. But I'll take a crack at it.
Yeah.
When it comes, we've been talking about healthcare.
Right.
I look to the science. I believe in the truths that science proved to us. I believe in investigations, unhampered investigations, that are trying to root out people who are not truthful, who are dishonest, or commit fraud. I think truth is when people talk to each other, center to center, heart to heart. And I believe that truth trumps everything else.
Ruth?
I have a hard time with this because so much of what we think is truth is our perception of something. And there isn't always a science, as much as I would love it, there isn't always a science, and there isn't always concrete evidence. And some things are undisputable. If you have a picture, a recording, a receipt, something in front of you, is, yes, it's the truth. But I think that most things in life simply don't come with a receipt. They don't come with the proof. And I think that today, if you ask me what truth is, I am honestly going to tell you that I'm not sure today.
I am troubled by the fact that so much false narrative is out there. That's one thing to be concerned about. The other thing to be concerned about is how many people believe it. And that gets back to one of your questions, Amy, which was, where do you get your information? Right. We self-select who we want to listen to, whose spin we want to hear. But there are verifiable truths. And when we're in the political sphere, we know, for instance, and right now, the impeachment hearings are going on in the next room.
Yeah, I had them on briefly, but it was
if you can hear it in the background. There are verifiable facts that are irrelevant to the president. Irrelevant. He says it's not true. It's a hoax. It's not true. They have receipts. They have the emails. They have the phone records. Our leader says a hoax, they're all untrue, the polls are untrue, always putting the responsibility for the truth or the lie on someone else. And that is what disturbs me so profoundly right now in politics, is that it appears almost 40% of this country believes a different universe than I do.
Ruth, do you not think there are verifiable facts, for instance, when it comes to the current impeachment proceedings and
right.
the scandal?
Nope, there's not a recording that that we can listen to and say, oh my God, look at what he's doing. He's having another government interfere. There just isn't. And the hearsay here and the hearsay there, and 500 law professors who have never had their opinions. You have law professors who are posing for pictures and are donating to campaigns of Democrats who are testifying against Trump. Based on what? They have absolutely no firsthand knowledge. They're just spewing their opinion, and certain people take that to be the truth. And I just don't understand it.
Yeah. Have you read he calls it a transcript. It's not a transcript. The notes from the call to Zelensky. Have you read it?
I have not.
It most clearly says, I have a favor to ask you though. I need an investigation into Vice President Biden and his son Hunter. Now, his allies on the impeachment panel say nowhere in that transcript does there appear a quid pro quo. Not only is there a quid pro quo in the written document that the White House made available, but you have sworn statements that talk about the quid pro quo. You have the president on record saying, what do I want from Zelensky? If he were honest, I think he would investigate Joe and Hunter Biden.
Right. Don't you want Joe and Hunter Biden investigated? That's your potential next president.
I think if there were wrongdoings, do I think there are people that get appointments to boards and to jobs that they have no background in? Look at the White House. You've got Trump, people with the last name of Trump who have no experience whatsoever. Do I think Joe Biden abused his power? I don't happen to. It was the stated policy of the United States of America to get the prosecutor in Ukraine fired. That's a whole different thing than I want you to investigate the guy who's ahead in the polls that's running against me. And in case he doesn't get it, I'm going to call Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas and wait till he gets to the others. He cannot just have wonderful things that he does, and that's why people are loving him. It is always at the expense of someone else, disrespecting them, calling them names, accusing them of things they have not done, and getting his troops, all of which are quite armed, I might say, riled up to the point where they end up putting pipe bombs in people's front doors. It is a scary time. Words matter, deeds matter, and no, I don't want investigations into something that didn't happen.